tell us a little bit about how you got involved with all this. Take us back all the way back
Uh,
from when you first decided I want to get involved in helping animals or in the study of animals. Give us a little background on
yeah.
that.
Well, Alex, I was a marine biology major when I first went into junior college,
Yeah.
and I wanted to be Jacques Cousteau. I fell in love with diving. I was the student director of the marine lab we had at Sierra College outside of Sacramento, up in Rockland, California.
Yeah.
I went and got seawater from the oceans every month to, replenish it. I took care of the octopi that we actually hatched out. At the time, the only institution was able to figure out how to do this.
Wow.
It was really a kind of a remarkable thing. But I was interested in a lot of types of science, um, and what happened was I got late in applying to my continuing college, and I had to go to a fallback instead of going off to getting my 4-year degree at, say, Humboldt State College,
Hmm.
where I could have gotten a marine biology degree or something like that. I found myself going to Fresno
Okay.
State College at the time, go Bulldogs.
Hmm.
And long story short, when I was going after my master's degree there, I had already received a degree in zoology, but I was looking for a project that was unique and nobody had done before. And I
Yeah.
remember meeting Jane Goodall years before at Sierra College,
Wow.
and also the gardeners, uh, R. Allen and Beatrice Gardeners. They were
Hmm.
the ones who taught sign language to Washoe, the first chimpanzee to learn
Wow.
sign language.
Wow.
And here I was sitting next to the gardeners while Jane Goodall was giving her presentation. I actually picked her up at the airport. I was asked by the vice president who, at the time of the school, to pick her up and chauffeur her around. And so
Hmm.
it was a chance for me to meet a remarkable woman at the time. She had just gotten out of the field, and she was on tour, and I had a chance to meet her, and this was back in like 1970. So
Wow.
it goes back, 50 years.
Yeah.
Is it 50 years?
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
that's a long time.
Yeah.
And so at that time, I had no idea that would ever go into primatology, but when I was given a choice to do my master's thesis, I saw there was this orangutan at the Fresno Zoo, and I was
Mm.
encouraged to work with the zoo through my professor,
Hmm.
and I chose a project uh, teaching symbolic communication to this juvenile Sumatran orangutan named Azak.
Wow.
And I did that for 2 years.
Wow.
And it gave me a chance to get to know orangutans, in a very intimate way because, she would jump on my lap and we would play.
Hmm.
I would go into the cage in the morning before the zoo opened up
Yeah.
and would do this kind of conditional discrimination methodology where I got her to associate plastic children's letters with different reference like apples and oranges
Yeah.
and bananas, and then teaching her what the symbol was for give and for take. And so we had this transactional relationship to kind of tag the linguistics to. So the idea was to teach her something that was salient and important to an orangutan, which
Yeah.
food is,
Right.
and to figure out how she learned to symbolize, this type of methodology, and,
Yeah.
and to study this. So I did that for 2 years, and then later went on to, when I couldn't get into medical school because I was pre-med,
Hmm.
went off to the University of Oklahoma, and I worked with, believe it or not, with Washoe, the first sighting chimp,
Yeah.
who had been taken there by one of the Gardner's students, Roger Fouts. And so I was a student, a graduate student, under Roger Fouts, working with the chimpanzees at the Institute for Primate Studies outside of Norman, Oklahoma.
Wow.
And it was there, I was working on my doctoral project where I got the chance to go to Borneo to
Wow.
teach sign language
That's
to
amazing.
orangutans. And that happened in 1977. I got the call. The following year, I was headed upriver.
Yeah.
And this is where I transitioned from just purely understanding the cognition
Sure.
of an orangutan to the conservation work
Mm.
that was being done out there at the
Right.
time.
Right.
So that was my beginning of orangutans. That's what I was like, somebody who was positioned because I had done the work with AZAC. I was
Yeah.
the only person who had ever worked with an orangutan at that time
Yeah.
doing linguistics.
Yeah.
So when I was asked to teach sign language to some orangutans, my professor, Roger Fouts, said, I think I got somebody for you.
Yeah.
And I went up and so I worked with the primatologist Birute Galdikas for those periods of time,
Wow.
um, working in Indonesian Borneo
Yeah.
in a reserve that before became a national park.
Okay.
And it was really a fascinating place to be and an interesting time to be doing this kind of work.
Yeah. No, definitely. Yeah, it's definitely groundbreaking work.
And to this day, nobody's done anything like it.
Yeah.
Um, to go into an animal's, natural habitat
Yeah.
and to do something which is normally done in a controlled environment.
Right.
Psychologists love to control the environment. They
Sure.
want to, control all the factors. I said, well, let's try this out. You
Right.
never know what might happen. And I found that orangutans were as capable of learning sign language as chimpanzees. And even though they may not have as a dynamic social environment like chimps have,
Right.
they still are able to process the information and to express themselves using signs for things that they want, like drink and
Yeah.
food and being scratched and brushed,
Yeah.
things that are relevant to an orangutan.
Right.